How firm should I felt my wool? I'll demonstrate this with two front legs that I'm making for my hare. I'm going to be attaching the top of them just around the chest area here. Here's the hare that I've already made, and you can see the legs are quite firm but still slightly flexible. The important thing is that they're strong, they're not going to wobble or bend too easily, and they're not going to fall apart. These two look the same, but I've made the left one to be really soft to show you, and the other one to be a lot firmer. So when I'm bending this, you'll see that it bends very, very easily. Looking closely, you'll see that it doesn't look very smooth yet. It's quite bumpy. And when I squeeze it, you can feel that the fibres are looser and the structure is not so sturdy. It's completely fine and up to you if you want to leave it soft, but if it's going to be really strong and have fur added to it, but also if you want it to stand up on an animal, then you'd need it to be a lot firmer. You can see my fingers are dinting into there. If you were to add fur or even reverse felt, you would lose a lot of its shape. This right hand leg, you'll see that it's a lot firmer when I poke with my finger. It's not flexing easily, there's no indentation like with the left one. It's densely and firmly felted. When I stand it up, there's a bit of give when I push down on the foot end, but it's a lot firmer and stronger. If I try that with the other one, you'll see that it just bends and it goes very flimsy. So with the right one, there's actually more wool. I wrapped 2 more layers around it and carried on stabbing. So how do I firm up my wool? I tend to use the lower gauge needles to firm and shape and quickly get my core wool working for me and compacting really quickly. I'm using a 36 gauge triangle. Then once I've done as much as I can and I'm feeling some resistance, I move to a higher gauge. This is now the 38 gauge triangle. It's really important when you're starting to felt your piece that you go right deep into the center of your structure. You want to get all of the fibers in the middle before you really firm up the outside. Something I've learned too with long pieces like legs is that if you go at a slight angle, you're going to really get those fibers working through the length, not just up and down at a 90-degree angle. You can test the firmness as you go. You can then work up to a 40 gauge triangle, which is what I'm using now. This will really condense those outer parts of the leg. I'll carry on firming up with my needles, but at this point is a really good time if I want to make any bends in the leg and keep those into place. Then I can do it at this point where it's kind of medium firm. Bend and then stab into place so you can firm it in its new position. It's much easier to do it at this stage before it gets too firm. And there we go. Hare foreleg is progressing well. I'll carry on stabbing. You can go as firm as you like really, just keep going, compacting, testing it with your fingers until you get to the structure you want it to be. Now if you're reverse felting, you will need it to be really firm. This is the right one again, this is the firmest one that I've more or less finished. I'm just using the reverse needle here to pull out the fibres. It's pulling out fine, lots of lovely fibres, all nice and fluffy for that fur effect. And if you look closely, you'll see that the structure is still in place, it's nice and firm with only the bits pulled out. However, if I pull out the fibres with my reverse needle on this softer one, I haven't quite firmed it up yet. As I pull, it's actually really easy. All of the fibres are pulling out very easy, perhaps too easy, because the fibres are still really loose. So it's fluffing up well, but when I look closely, I will see that actually there's lots of clumps coming out. The structure is breaking down a bit. And the leg has somewhat weakened as well. So I'd say it's definitely worth getting as firm as you can when it comes to reverse felting. So I hope you found those tips useful. Don't forget to subscribe for more tutorials just like this one. You might like to watch this video next.